especially just thinking like a position like mount. Your natural position in mount is going to be to strike to the face. So, they're going to have to strike to the body or position, reposition a side mount where they can get off some knees to the body. It really makes his athletes slow down and think a little bit. And yes, they have to have composure, they've got to have awareness, and they've got to have technique.
Do you see in the amateur ranks when ground and pound to the face is not allowed, are the fighters generally pretty good about it? Have you seen a lot of points being taken away, or does it not usually factor in too much of the decision?
It's not usually factored in. Sometimes there'll be a glancing blow, and you'll hear the referee say, hey, watch the punches. I mean, last show, one guy was punched in the chest, kind of slid up, accidentally hit him in the face. Not, hard enough to stop the action, but there are those incidental type strikes.
You see it in the UFC all the time. So
yes.
Well, his opponent is now making his way into the cage right now, and he is these are two big boys going at it here.
Yes, these are in the heavyweight division, 206 to 264.9 pounds. Our beautiful cage girls bringing the round one placard. We're going to bring it up to Mike Falvo in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our opening contest of the evening, scheduled for three 3-minute rounds in our heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in yesterday 254 pounds. Representing Bear Hug Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out of Corning, New York, Corey Hackett. And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in yesterday 251 pounds, representing Synthesis Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out of Rochester, New York, Nat Kabba. And the man in charge of the action when the door closes, Mr. Laszlo Huve.
I'm excited.
Oh, as am I. The big boys, I've got a soft spot, being a big fella myself, but anything can change at any given moment in these fights.
Yeah, I think we're going to hear some fist flying momentarily.
In Hackett's last fight, it was going back and forth, but he unloaded with a right hand, I believe it was, and it was over. Nat Kabba ready to assume the center of the cage. Hackett circling nicely. You notice kind of feeling each other out. Hackett's using some feints, seeing what Nat does in response.
Both fighters do look very relaxed. Nobody's wasting a whole lot of energy, just a few seconds into the first round.
And you can see Nat wants to control the center of that cage. Nat Kabba with the red tape. You hear the corner saying, pump that jab. The jab, one of the most underutilized strikes in mixed martial arts.
Oh, without a doubt. It sets up just about every kind of combination you want to throw afterwards, not to mention the damage that it can do over the course of a 3-round fight.
Right now, Nat is just content controlling the center of the cage. Corey looking for that opening.
Corey does look like he really respects the power of his opponent right now, which I think he needs to do.
And that goes both ways, because as we saw, Cage Wars 50, Corey Hackett can put your lights out.
Not a whole lot of action here. Just kind of, like you said, guys kind of feeling the process out a little bit. I think we'll see a strike to kind of open things up a little bit here.
If you notice,
and there it is.
There we go. Nat is comfortable switching between positions. Orthodox, southpaw. Nat Kabba ends up on top in half guard.
And so this is a situation that you spoke about earlier. When you see the shin guards, it's amateur status. Ground and pound can't be to the head.
Can't be to the head, only to the body. So Nat Kabba looking to secure the position.
Oh, he's in a good spot too.
Corey trying to keep him close. Look for an opportunity to sweep, get it out from underneath.
Surprising to see Kabba not attempt to go to body, but he just wants to lay him out here.
And it's tough in that half guard position. So all he can really do is rain down those left hands to the body. He's got the one leg locked down. It looks like he's trying to isolate an arm.
It looks like he is absolutely going for it. And
Nat very composed on top. He's quite content staying here in half guard. I had a jiu-jitsu instructor in the past who used to advocate as a mixed martial artist stay in half guard because it's a good position. You can control your opponent. You can deliver some punishment. You can transition to some submissions.
Yeah, he's not allowing Kabba to unleash any fury here, but it does appear that Kabba is not only he's content to let him get back up. I think he wants to turn it back into a striking match.
And that's smart, because right now he's leading the grappling. Okay, he got that takedown. He has some control time, and we're down to the final 10 seconds of this first round.
Very intelligent.
Whoa,
Went for the
nice
kick.
job avoiding that kick by Corey Hackett. I love seeing them big fellas throw them legs high like that.
And I will say this, you're right about Hackett. He really minimized any and all of the damage that could have went, but seems like the first round would go to Kabba there.
It would, and you know, here's the thing we're going to talk to the folks at home about. There's been a lot of controversy in the pro circuit and the amateur circuit about how these fights are scored. And Brian, we talked about it before the fight started. So to those folks at home, to get a better understanding, there's 3 categories of scoring: effective striking, effective grappling, and then cage control and aggression. The judges have to look at those first 2 categories first. If one opponent wins both those categories, they won the round. If it goes 1-1, then and only then do you look to cage control and aggression. Damage is no more figured into these scorecards anymore. A lot of folks get hung up on that damage idea, the damage idea. Right now, we saw Nat Kabba win the grappling and the striking, and he even controlled the cage. So that's his round. Again, we can't speak for the judges, but
Let me ask you this. How hard do you think it is for the judges, though, to try to remove emotion from it and think, well, because normally you would think if a damaged fighter is leaving, you know, is heading back to his corner, you would think that it's the fighter that is probably down. It's got to be hard to discipline yourself as a judge to make sure that you are scoring it as objectively as possible.
That's the beauty of sanctioning bodies, though, in the ABC. All these folks have had to go through the unified MMA rules, scoring and judging certifications. So, again, they should have a very good understanding at this point. And if they don't, well, then that should be remediated on a case-by-case basis.
Well, it looks like both guys had an opportunity to get a little bit warm inside the cage here, and I think we're going to
nice knee by Nat Kabba.
Nice knee.
It looks like Corey Hackett wants this on the ground. I feel like Nat Kabba's got the advantage with his movement, his angles, his variation of strikes and attacks. If you notice, he's using both legs, both hands.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Hackett has really found a comfort zone in there. I don't know if he's recognized what kind of style he wants to employ in this particular match. He seems to be still trying to process all the data in his head, but he's got to do something.
Absolutely, and Nat Kabba doing a nice job shifting his weight side to side, moving his head off center line. You see him there switching his feet position. You know, that's tough to deal with when you're not comfortable with your opponent's tempo, and then they start switching stances, changes angles, changes attacks. You know, he's doing a lot of good things in here to really keep Corey Hackett guessing.
Well, he landed a nice left just a few seconds ago. Didn't do a tremendous amount of damage, but it definitely got Hackett's attention.
Well, and if you notice, Hackett is kind of turning himself to Nat Kabba, giving Nat that front leg to kick.
I think you're right about Hackett. I think he wants to take this fight down to the ground. He looks like the less experienced striker
when
initially.
It comes to the stand-up, absolutely. Nice leg kick by Nat Kabba. We talked about that just a second ago. Look at the left leg of Corey Hackett. He's presenting it to Nate to kick. And he's not checking any kicks yet, so if I'm Nat Kabba, I'm kicking it. Now, what I will say is, you know, sometimes you can get too comfortable, and Nat's chin is up a little bit, and when you're fighting with a heavy-handed guy, an overhand right can change things. And I think that's what Corey might be looking for, either wrestling or a hard overhand right. But Nat doing the right thing, keeping him at distance.
Well, Corey is attempting to try to back him down. He's not allowing himself to be submissive in terms of who's controlling the cage.
Nice job by Nat. Nat's feeling himself now. He's noticed that bounce side to side, back and forth. He's starting to find his rhythm. He's finding his tempo. He's dictating this violent dance.
Well, if you're Hackett, you probably want to change levels here because it doesn't appear as though he's going to have a whole lot of success standing up here.
And if you notice, he keeps kicking the hamstring. That's going to really catch up on Corey as this fight wears on if it goes to the third round. Nice right hand. I will say Corey's doing a nice job trying to corner Nat and take away some of that movement, but that really made him think twice about that.
Another
nice
good strike.
He's throwing nice round kicks, nice teeps, nice hand techniques, nice head kicks. I mean, this young man really has well-versed.
He went for it,
arsenal.
too. Oh, and there we go.
Nice right hand, kick into a right hand. Hackett's in trouble.
He really is.
Laszlo Hoove watching on, 10 seconds left.
Looks like he's going to survive the round, but barely here.
He will, and Nat's feeling himself, though. He's feeling this.
That was a very dominant round.
All right, good awareness by Nat to pull that strike and Corey to get out of the way. So right now, Brian, that looks like 2 rounds to none.
I think it's pretty obvious that it is, and if you're Corey Hackett, you've got to come in with an early third round aggression, and I think a level change is necessary. He's got to try at least to get this fight to the ground, don't you think?
You know, at this point, I would disagree, just because if he's down 2 rounds to none, he has to end this round. And in the novice rule set, it's very difficult to. Oh, here we go with the replay. You see him spin kick into that right hand. A lot of times people don't expect you to throw a hand technique off of a round kick like that. That surprised Corey Hackett.
And I was going to say, too, one of Hackett's defense mechanisms does seem to be turning his back and putting himself in an even more awkward position, and I get it. I mean, when you got a guy coming at you, charging at you, and he's throwing big, heavy fists, you know, it's an easy thing to do. Naturally, your body wants to kind of react the other way, but then you're giving up your back, and you're just making yourself even more vulnerable.
You know, and I think let's give some credit to Nat on changing up the strikes and really changing up the awareness of Corey Hackett. You know, it almost kind of throws a short circuit in his circuitry on him.
I think, like you said, too, Kabba's starting to feel pretty good about himself. He's lathered up.
He's bouncing.
He's ready to go. He's looking to stop this thing early in round 3.
Now, again, that can always be a double-edged sword.
Well, that would add for a little interesting twist in round 3. It certainly could open up the door for Hackett.
There's always a puncher's chance, especially with these big boys. Sign of respect to start the round. Here we go.
Love to see it.
Nat working off that jab again. I love seeing that. Oh, man. He does a nice job transitioning between hands and feet.
Let me tell you, these are 2 very big guys. Kabba is a strong striker. You could tell he has very strong, sturdy base.
He's got some tree trunks for legs, that's for sure.
He sure does.
Doing a nice job switching his stances. Orthodox southpaw. That's really tough to deal with in the moment. You don't know what's coming, where it's coming from. Especially if you don't have somebody like that in the gym.
A lot of feints, too. He's definitely switching it up, and he's keeping Corey Hackett guessing here in round 3.
And now if you notice, Corey's still giving him that front leg to kick. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nat starts to go back to that here pretty soon.
Well, Corey's got to figure out something because
that leg's hurting.
Yeah,
you notice it.
He's allowing himself to be walked down.
Nat Kabba doing a beautiful job dictating the distance here. Corey kind of stuck. Right now, Nat Kabba's controlling everything, making Corey react to him. Again, we talked about that dance. He's leading this dance.
That was a good jab there. And he does switch it up, and then he comes with a strong left.
Round kick to a teep kick, back to a left hand, right hand. He's doing a beautiful job switching it up.
Looked like an eye poke there as the 2 guys came together.
We're over halfway through this 3rd and final round. Nice leg kick. Oh, leg kicks are my favorite. They give me the warm fuzzies inside. You know, and you'll see there, you know, a lot of times we talk about the reptile brain. You kick, I kick. You punch, I punch. Corey tried to return that kick, but not at all in the same capacity that Nat threw his.
Well, you saw Hackett go for the level change there. I just think he's trying to do something. He has been inefficient with his strikes. I don't think he's thrown as many strikes as he would like, but like you said, you got to give his opponent Kabba credit. He's really controlled the action for the better part of 2.5 rounds.
Yes, he's done an absolute textbook job in employing his game plan. Now, Corey's got him up against the cage. It's going to be curious to see if he can do something with that. He's trying to take that left leg of Kabba out.
No, he just doesn't have enough time, Will. I mean, if he's going to... Oh,
he got the takedown. But, again, you're down 2 rounds to 0, so you've got to end this with a submission or a stoppage of some sort. Final 30 seconds.
I think both guys are about to let loose here.
You hear Kabba's corner yelling. He's tired. They want their corner.
Here it comes.
Oh,
my
head
goodness.
Kick. Oh, is this over? Laszlo Hughes. That's it. Laszlo Hughes calls a stop to it. That was a good stop. Nice head kick by Nat Kabba. He had climbed that up a few times during this fight.
You know, it was only a matter of time. His strikes were doing damage. He was getting some clean shots, and he was mixing things up. You didn't different angles. You didn't know where it was coming from. And Hackett did a heck of a job, hung in there against a very tough opponent. But I think Kabba was much the better.
Here again. We talked about Nat making him react. Corey starts to back up, throws that right hand to the kick, just like before, where he threw the kick to the punch. This was the punch to the kick. Laszlo Hughes steps in to stop it. It was a beautiful job making Corey Hackett guess.
And a very good stoppage, too, by the referee. And you saw Kabba at the end of the fight. I don't think he loved it.
I'll tell you what, we got a new face in the heavyweight division, Brian Cody.
That was impressive.
And this guy right here makes me happy that I'm on this side of the table.
Oh, please. I never did what you did, so I've only been on this side of the table.
This young man has a bright future. I look forward to seeing him again. Kudos to Synthesis Jiu-Jitsu for getting this young man ready.
And for Hackett to stand in there, too.
Oh, Hackett's a tough guy. You're going to see his brother fight later. They're both tough guys. You know, I know this is not the last we've seen of Mr. Corey Hackett. We're going to bring it up to the ring announcer for the...
How about a nice round of applause for our first fighters of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your referee, Laszlo Huve, has called a stop to the fight at 2 minutes, 40 seconds into round number 3. For your winner out of the red corner by way of technical knockout, Nat Kabba.
Beautiful job by Nat Kabba.